पिछले 24 घंटों में हमारे देश में इस महामारी से 2,812 लोगों की मौत हुई है। 2,812 लोगों की मौत हुई है। डॉक्टर सुनील कुमार ने इसी बात का जिक्र किया। उन्होंने कहा कोरोना वायरस के मामलों में 99% मरीज बिना
This
अस्पताल
a very interesting monochromatic film depicting daily life activities during an endless lockdown during this worldwide pandemic we are all living through. Um, they used very regular daily tasks and just maybe emphasizing on the routinary things we are forced to do while staying at home. And I actually loved one of the scenes where they focus on the birds and they introduce the piano music. I thought it was just a lovely scene and it gives some sort of hopefulness to the whole scenario. It's generally dire and dry, but I think that scene is just beautifully made. I really enjoyed the whole.
It's a very interesting expressionistic piece here. I just love the title. The Scaffolding of Love, and it was interesting to see life at a still point in this major urban center of Mumbai during lockdown, and just seeing the scaffolding around and life happening around things on a daily basis. It was very interesting look at just kind of stillness, in the middle of this bad time, how maybe a little still and a little peace is a good thing. I love the black and white cinematography, the editing of it. I love the use of the location sound was very beautiful. I love when the music comes in at the end. It kind of gives you a sense of rest and reassurance. This is going on, and they're on the scaffolding there at the end, but you have a sense of peace about it. So this is a very beautiful piece of filmmaking here, and it definitely moved me and made me think. So good job with this. I hope it does well for you.
I thought this was so fascinating and beautiful. First of all, that it was in all black and white was just gorgeous. I've never thought of doing these sort of still life vignettes with sound in the background, but the lockdown felt like this. And I thought that was what was so genius about this whole film, that it really encapsulated the feeling of lockdown so beautifully. It's really interesting and thought-provoking and really beautifully done. I really loved this. And I found that it was very much in alignment with how I experienced, or how any one person experienced the pandemic. So thank you very much for making this. It was really stunning, beautifully shot, beautifully edited, interesting sound bites in the background that felt disconnected yet connected at the same time. It was amazing. Congratulations.
It was a very accurate visual portrayal of time passing through the pacing of the cuts and the objects that were shown, and it being black and white. I think it truly captured the repetition and the monotony of lockdown, which we've all experienced and can connect to. I think the sound design was a very interesting part of this film because the subject was never really present in the frame, only in small parts or in reflection, and yet we really got a sense of how these people live through the vibrance of the sound design. The one shot that really stuck out to me was the travel brochures that were on the fridge, because it showed that exactly what we're missing while we're in lockdown. And I think that overall the filmmaker was very careful and deliberate in which portions of the home they chose to show to us.
I like the fact that this was in black and white. Black and white is always such a fascinating medium to do short films in, and it's not easy. It's not easy to do, and to make it and keep it interesting, you really have to work with the contrasts, which this filmmaker did. They did a lot of nice contrasts with a very, very dark room, and then you had the light from the window, like right in the middle or off to one side of it. Really interesting textures. And I felt as if I were a fly on the wall watching what lockdown was like from day to day to day in Mumbai in this piece. It was very interesting.
Shot entirely in black and white with one notable exception, and just had a bunch of mundane tasks inside someone's home. Felt very Andy Warhol-esque in that sense. And I thought that the black and white actually turned out to be a very good artistic choice because it relied a lot on the natural lighting from the windows of whether it was daytime or nighttime, and all the lockdown day X subtitles definitely took me back to the early days of COVID, which is not a period I'm very eager to revisit ever again. But all the outside shots definitely represented the want/need to get out, to do something different rather than just go through the motions of the same tasks every day. But the one notable exception to the black and white that I noticed was whenever they showed the plant in the window and the greenery of that shone through. It definitely took its cues from Schindler's List in that regard. It's very, very nice film to look at.
I loved the iconic music video about love to start us in. I thought the black and white was really effective in the lights and the shadows that were created, especially with so much of the light permeating from the outside. And that felt like our only hope was getting outside during so much of lockdowns, at least for me anyways. And it showed really those shadows of this kind of emotional landscape and a somewhat bleak feeling created by the solitary and overly familiar surroundings and the overly familiar routines that come from a lockdown. I thought the shots looking outside had this longing drive to it, which I thought was really effective. And it just seemed like life was brimming outside, where inside we were stuck into this rut almost. So many shots, static shots showing different areas of the apartment. And it reminded me of being in lockdown in terms of what your mind fixated on. Seeing all those little flaws in your surroundings that you just want to change or escape from. Like those tiny little flaws in the architecture, flaws in our bodies, flaws in our home life. And figuring out creatively how to use the home most advantageously to keep on trucking. I thought it was a really interesting exploration and left so much room, breathing room, for the audience to explore and project upon it, which I think is one of the most effective parts of art.